All right, so we're going to continue, and this time we will use the Batman logo as something to follow. So I'm going to exit my sketch, click the green check, and we can delete our sketch. Right click on the feature list, delete. Let's just create another sketch. Sketch, pick the top plane, and we're going to go up to the top. Sort of towards the middle, you'll see this icon called Insert DXF or DWG. It's to the right of the four squares. Anytime you see a drop down, there are more options. Click that, Insert Image. When you do that, Onshape is going to pull all of the image files that are found in your document. If you wanted to load an additional image, you would go to the bottom, Insert New Element, instead of Create Part Studio, Import. Put your logo in your Onshape document, then you'll be able to insert the image. In this case, Batman is already there. We're going to press that. And we are going to click once, move over, click again, and there you have Batman. We're going to take an additional step here just so we can show and hide Batman afterwards. We're going to name this sketch image. And then we're going to create another sketch again on the top plane. So in other words, the sketch is right on top of the image sketch. The analogy goes, the sketch is like a piece of paper, and the plane is like a surface on which to write. A sketch always needs a plane, but there can be many sketches on one plane. So to convince yourself of that, we can go over to Image, we can hide Batman and show Batman. In order to keep it centered, we are going to bring up the existing rectangle around the Batman image. So we're going to select on the four edges, and we're going to use this very useful tool called Use or Project or Convert. When I click on that, it's going to bring up those lines, and you see it's turned from gray to black. And again, you can hide that image to convince that you've brought that up. We like to click the green check to save and exit the sketch level, and then double click again to re-enter it. Now let's trace Batman. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a center line to mirror around. So we're going to pick up our line tool and zoom into the bottom, and your best guess, click once to define that bottom point. As you go up, make sure, all right, and by going up you can pan, as you go up, make sure that Onshape is helping you stay vertical. When you get to the forehead, click again, and then you can press the escape key to drop that line. Select the line and change it into a construction line. You can always toggle the state of a line being construction or not. Construction means it's just there to help you construct your other geometry. You can make it a solid if you want to use it to make a part. For now, we're just going to make it a construction line. It might not be perfectly in the middle. That's okay. We're going to turn off construction and then go over to line, and we're going to make one segment here, the one straight line segment that you have. So mouse over, make sure it's coincident, click once, stay horizontal, click again, and then escape to drop. Looks like I accidentally changed the middle line to construction, not construction, so I'm just going to change it back. And then we'll zoom out. Let's click the green check to save, double click to enter again. So anytime you model anything, you want to make use of any symmetry or patterns. And in this case, we have symmetry that we're going to mirror around. And I'm going to make the assumption that the remainder of the left half of Batman can be defined by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spline segments. So let's start by creating the straight line spline segment. So go over to your spline tool, not your spline point. Spline tool, pick that up, and we're going to click once, click again, and then escape. That's one 2-point spline segment, and we're going to continue doing this around. All right, make sure it's coincident. Click once, click again, escape. You might need to pan and zoom as you need. Click once, click again, and escape. Remember that click again and escape, you can just do a double click instead. Click once, click again, escape, and again pan and zoom as you need. Finish it off, click once, make sure it's coincident, click again, escape. And right now, you have just a jagged Batman. I'm going to save my work, go back in. Now comes the fun part. We're going to define each segment. So with no tool selected, we're going to click and drag the control handles so that it matches the form. Again, it's up to your eye as to how good of a match you want. This next part is where you really see the power of the spline. At first, you might wonder, how are you going to get this whole form with just a few manipulations of the control handles? But I'm going to show you that right now. Click and drag, and make sure you don't accidentally touch one of the entities, all right? You can either steer clear of that or hold on to the shift key. And you will need to go back and forth and alternate between the two control handles. There's a lot of trial and error, and you'll get better with experience. But hopefully, as you see what I'm doing here, you see that over time, in this case, the Batman can be defined. All right, each of these segments can be defined with just these 2-point spline segments. All right, and again, it might not be perfect. This is just practice. So go ahead and spend just about 10 or 15 seconds on each. Oops, I pulled the wrong control point there. On each of the segments so that you can fully define Batman. All right, I'm just going to do a rough pass here. Just like in an English essay, you make many drafts, many iterations. With CAD modeling, that's what you do too. All right, I want to save my work. Double click. And now let's mirror. So up here, there's a mirror tool. I pick my mirror line. Onshape says select entities to be mirrored. As I click these entities, it will mirror it over that line. Okay? And with that, click the green check to save. I can even hide my Batman. And because I have a closed shape, I can select this area, press extrude. Congratulations, you have